I want you to try something right now. Stand up from wherever you are sitting. Do not use your hands. Do not grab the armrest. Do not push yourself up from the cushion beneath you. Just stand up using your legs alone. How did that feel? If you hesitated before trying, if you reached for something without even thinking about it, if your legs felt shaky for a moment before they steadied underneath you, if you felt a quiet uncertainty in your body that you have not always felt, or if you simply read that instruction and decided not to try because you already know what the answer would be, then this video is specifically for you. And what I am about to share with you over the next few minutes could genuinely change the trajectory of the next decade of your life in ways that nothing else I could tell you today would come close to matching. Here is the truth that the medical system almost never delivers clearly enough or urgently enough. Leg weakness after 60 is not a normal, inevitable part of aging that you simply accept and learn to manage around. It is a warning signal, a biological alarm that your body has been sending you quietly for years. And it is one of the most accurate predictors of serious health decline, loss of independence, and premature death that medicine has ever identified. A landmark study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine tracked adults over 60 for 7 years and found that those who could not perform a simple single-leg stand for 10 seconds had an 84% higher risk of dying from any cause within that period compared to those who could. Not a slightly elevated risk, not a marginal statistical difference, 84% higher from a 10-second balance test that requires nothing but a pair of functioning legs and the strength to hold yourself upright on one of them. Your legs are not just transportation. They are the foundation of your entire physiological system. They are the largest muscle group in your body, accounting for more than 40% of your total muscle mass. They regulate your circulation, they support your spine, they govern your balance, they determine your metabolic rate, and when that foundation begins to weaken everything built on top of it, your heart health, your brain function, your bone density, your independence, your quality of life begins to destabilize with it in ways that most people never connect back to what is happening in their legs. Today I'm going to give you 5 specific exercises designed for adults over 60 that target the exact muscle groups responsible for leg strength, stability, and fall prevention. No gym membership. No expensive equipment, no getting down on the floor, no trainer required. Every single exercise can be done standing or seated in your own home starting today, starting this afternoon, starting the moment this video ends if you choose. My name is Dr. Michael Ellis. I am 85 years old. I've spent my entire career in preventive medicine working with older adults on mobility, independence, and fall prevention. I have sat across from patients who came in walking independently and left months later in a wheelchair because a fall that was entirely preventable changed everything in one moment. I have also sat across from patients in their late 70s and early 80s who began a targeted leg strengthening program and recovered strength and stability they had not felt in years. I have seen both outcomes, and I am 85 years old practicing every exercise I'm about to show you personally. Because at this age, I understand better than most what is at stake when your legs begin to go. Before we go any further, drop a comment below right now and answer this honestly. When you stand up from a chair, do you use your hands to push yourself up, and when did you first notice that starting to happen? Write your answer in the comments. I read every single one personally, and what this community shares here shapes the topics I cover every single week. Now, before we get to the 5 exercises, I need to give you the full biology, because understanding what is actually happening inside your legs after 60 will completely transform how seriously you take these next few minutes. And it will explain why these specific exercises are not random choices. They are targeted interventions based on exactly what aging does to your legs at the cellular and structural level. What is actually happening to your legs after 60 to the full picture? There is a process happening inside your body right now that most people have never heard of by name, but that every single person over 60 is experiencing to some measurable degree. It is called sarcopenia, Sarcopenia is the age-related loss of skeletal muscle mass, muscle strength, and physical function. The word comes from the Greek meaning poverty of flesh, and the research on its progression is genuinely sobering when you understand the timeline. Beginning around age 40, the human body loses approximately 1% of muscle mass per year if nothing active is done to counter it. That sounds modest, but by age 60, that means you may have already lost 20% of the muscle mass you had in your prime. After 60, that rate of loss accelerates to between 1.5 and 2% per year. After 70, it accelerates again. By age 80, some adults have lost 40 to 50% of their peak muscle mass depending on their activity levels and nutrition over the preceding decades. But here is the critical detail that most people are never told clearly. Muscle loss does not happen evenly across the body. It does not start in your arms. It does not start in your back or your shoulders. It starts in your legs. Specifically, sarcopenia begins in the large, fast-twitch muscle fibers of the quadriceps, the powerful four-headed muscle running down the front of your thighs, and in the gluteal complex of your hips and buttocks. These are your primary standing, rising, stair climbing, and walking muscles. They are the muscles responsible for catching you in the split second when you stumble. They are the muscles that generate the explosive force needed to stand up from a low chair, to step up onto a curb, to change direction quickly when the ground beneath you is uneven or unexpected. When these muscles weaken, the consequences cascade outward immediately and in multiple directions simultaneously. Balance deteriorates because the stabilizing muscles around your hips and knees are no longer strong enough to make the rapid micro adjustments needed to keep you upright on changing or uneven surfaces. Your brain sends the signal and the muscles simply cannot respond quickly enough or with sufficient force. Gait changes because weakened legs create a shorter, shuffling, flat-footed stride pattern. The normal heel-to-toe rolling gait that provides natural momentum and stability becomes a cautious, flat shuffle that paradoxically increases fall risk by reducing ground clearance and limiting the body's ability to recover from a stumble. Bone density decreases because your bones respond to the mechanical loading that strong muscles place upon them. Less muscle force on the bone means less stimulus for bone remodeling. The same sarcopenia that weakens your muscles simultaneously accelerates the osteoporosis process in the bones those muscles surround. Circulation worsens because your leg muscles, particularly the calves, act as a secondary pump returning venous blood from the lower extremities back up to the heart. Weak calf muscles mean pooling blood, swollen ankles, increased cardiovascular strain, and higher risk of deep vein thrombosis in older adults who sit for extended periods. And confidence collapses because the body instinctively knows when it is less stable. The brain begins registering subtle movement uncertainties and responds by restricting activity. The person stops taking stairs, stops walking on uneven ground, stops going out in wet weather. Each restriction feels like common sense in the moment, but each one also removes a stimulus for leg use, and the muscle weakness deepens with every avoided movement. Here is what makes this genuinely urgent. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in adults over 65 in the United States. 1 in 4 adults over 65 falls every single year. Hip fractures resulting from falls carry a 1-year mortality rate of up to 30% in older adults, and the single most powerful modifiable risk factor for falls is not medication side effects, not home hazards, not poor vision, though all of these matter. It is leg muscle weakness and poor neuromuscular control. And here's the news I need you to hold on to because it is the most important thing I will say in this entire video. Muscle responds to resistance at any age. This is not motivational language. This is cellular biology. Research published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that adults in their 70s, 80s, and even their 90s who began targeted resistance training showed measurable and significant increases in muscle mass, muscle strength, and functional mobility within 8 to 12 weeks of consistent training. Your legs are not beyond recovery. They have not given up on you. They are simply waiting for the right signal. And these 5 exercises are that signal. Type the word strong in the comments right now if you are ready to give your legs what they have been waiting for. Before you begin, 3 things you must know. Before I walk you through the 5 exercises, there are 3 things I want you to know that will make everything that follows safer, more effective, and more sustainable. First, progress, not perfection. Every exercise I'm about to describe comes with a starting point and a progression. If you cannot perform the full version today, that is not a failure. That is your baseline. The direction of travel matters infinitely more than where you begin. An 80-year-old who performs 5 careful repetitions today and 7 next week is making more meaningful progress than a 60-year-old who does 20 repetitions once and never returns to it. Second, consistency beats intensity every single time for this age group. The research on muscle adaptation in older adults is unambiguous on this point. 3 moderate sessions per week performed consistently for 12 weeks produces dramatically better outcomes than irregular, intense sessions performed sporadically. You are building a biological habit inside your muscle tissue. That habit requires repetition over time, not heroic single efforts. Third, pain is information. Mild muscle fatigue and a gentle burning sensation during these exercises is completely normal and indicates that the muscles are working and adapting. That is productive discomfort, and it is welcome. Sharp joint pain, any pain that causes you to limp or lean significantly to compensate, or pain that persists for more than 24 hours after exercise are signals to stop, rest, and consult your physician or physical therapist before continuing. These exercises are designed to be safe for the vast majority of older adults, but your individual medical history always matters. Exercise 1, sit to stand. This is the single most important exercise on this entire list. Not because it is the most sophisticated, but because it uses the most important functional movement pattern in your daily life, and it directly tests and trains the exact muscles that sarcopenia targets first. Every time you stand up from a chair, a toilet, a car seat, or a bed, you are performing a sit-to-stand movement. If you cannot perform this movement independently, you lose the ability to live independently. It is that direct and that consequential. The exercise uses your own body weight as resistance. It directly targets the quadriceps, the gluteal muscles, the hip flexors, and the core stabilizers of the lower back and abdomen. Here is how to perform it correctly. Sit toward the front edge of a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. Your feet should be positioned slightly behind your knees, not in front of them. This foot position is critical. Feet too far forward force you to lean excessively forward and reduce the mechanical efficiency of the movement. Cross your arms over your chest or extend them straight forward parallel to the floor. Do not use your hands to push off from the chair. Lean your torso slightly forward from the hips, not from the waist, until your nose is roughly over your toes. This forward lean shifts your center of gravity over your feet before you begin to rise. Without this lean, the movement requires significantly more quad strength and feels dramatically harder than it needs to. Now drive through your heels and stand up fully. Squeeze your glutes firmly at the top of the movement. Stand completely upright for 1 full second. Then slowly lower yourself back down in a controlled manner, taking approximately 3 full seconds to return to seated. Do not drop back into the chair. Lower with control. The controlled lowering phase, called the eccentric contraction, is where a significant portion of the strength building actually occurs. Start with 5 repetitions. Rest for 60 seconds. Perform 2 sets in your first week. Build toward 3 sets of 10 repetitions over the following 3 to 4 weeks. When 3 sets of 10 becomes comfortable, try performing the movement from a slightly lower surface. A firm sofa cushion rather than a standard chair height increases the range of motion your quads must work through and significantly increases the training stimulus without adding any external weight. If you cannot currently perform this without using your hands, begin with your hands assisting and progressively reduce how much you rely on them over the weeks ahead. Use 2 hands first, then one hand, then fingertips only, then no hands. Each stage is meaningful progress. Exercise 2. Heel raises. This exercise targets the calf muscles, specifically the gastrocnemius and the soleus, which are critically important for two reasons that most older adults are never told about. First, your calves function as a secondary circulatory pump. Every time your calf muscles contract, they compress the deep veins in your lower legs, squeezing blood upward against gravity back toward your heart. This mechanism is so significant that physiologists sometimes call the calves the second heart. Weak calf muscles mean poor venous return, blood pooling in the feet and ankles, swelling, and increased strain on the heart to maintain adequate circulation to and from the lower extremities. Second, your calf muscles are the primary dynamic stabilizers of your ankle joint. Ankle instability is one of the most frequently overlooked contributors to falls in older adults. The ankle is the first joint to respond when the ground shifts or when a stumble begins. Strong calf muscles give the ankle the rapid stabilizing power needed to prevent that stumble from becoming a fall. Stand behind a sturdy chair and rest your fingertips lightly on the back for balance support only. Your weight should be entirely through your feet. Stand with feet hip-width apart, toes pointing forward. Slowly rise up onto the balls of both feet, lifting your heels as high as comfortable. Hold the raised position for 2 full seconds at the top. Feel the calf muscles working, then slowly lower your heels back to the floor, taking 3 full seconds to descend. The slow lowering phase builds the strength. The speed of descent is where the work happens. Perform 10 repetitions. Rest 60 seconds. Complete 3 sets. As this becomes consistently easy progress to performing the movement on one leg at a time while holding the chair with one hand. Single leg heel raises multiply the training stimulus dramatically and also build the single leg stability that walking and stair climbing require. Exercise 3, side leg raises. The muscles targeted by this exercise are the hip abductors, specifically the gluteus medius running along the outer side of your hip and buttock. These muscles are the most underappreciated and most undertrained muscle group in older adult fitness, and they are directly responsible for one of the most critical aspects of fall-safe movement. Here is the anatomy that makes this so important. Every time you take a step, your body is momentarily balanced entirely on one leg. During that fraction of a second, your gluteus medius is the primary muscle preventing your pelvis from dropping toward the unsupported side. When this muscle is strong, your pelvis stays level and your stride is stable and efficient. When this muscle is weak, your pelvis drops with each step, creating a lateral swaying gait called a Trendelenburg gait. This swaying gait significantly increases the energy cost of walking, accelerates fatigue, and dramatically increases fall risk on any surface that is not perfectly flat. Stand beside a sturdy chair with your right hand resting lightly on the back for balance support. Stand tall with feet together and your core gently engaged. Keeping your right leg completely straight and your toes pointing directly forward, slowly lift your right leg directly out to the side. Do not allow your body to lean to the left as you lift. The lift must come from the hip muscle contraction alone, not from a compensatory body lean. Raise your leg to a comfortable height, approximately 12 to 18 inches off the floor. Hold for 2 full seconds at the top, then slowly lower back to the starting position, taking 3 seconds. Perform 10 repetitions on the right side, turn around and repeat 10 repetitions on the left side. That is 1 complete set. Perform 3 complete sets on each side. If you notice your body tilting significantly when you lift, reduce the height of the lift immediately. A small lift performed with a perfectly stable pelvis builds significantly more functional strength than a large lift performed with a tilting, compensating torso. Quality of movement is everything here. Type the number 3 in the comments if you are still with me and you plan to add this hip exercise to your weekly routine. Because the gluteus medius is the most overlooked muscle in fall prevention for older adults, and I genuinely want to know how many people in this community are hearing this for the first time today. Exercise 4, seated knee extensions. This exercise is specifically designed for adults who have knee pain, significant balance concerns, or who are building their confidence with standing exercises before progressing to more demanding positions. It can be performed entirely from a seated position in a standard chair, and it directly targets the quadriceps, the same powerful thigh muscles that sarcopenia attacks first and hardest. Sit toward the back of a sturdy chair with your back comfortably supported by the chair back. Your feet should rest flat on the floor with your knees bent at approximately 90 degrees and your thighs fully supported by the seat of the chair. Slowly straighten your right knee, lifting your foot off the floor until your leg is as straight as you can comfortably achieve. You do not need to lock the knee into full extension. Extend as far as feels comfortable without any sharp pain behind or around the kneecap. Hold the fully extended position for 3 full seconds. During those 3 seconds, actively focus on feeling the quadriceps muscle on the top of your thigh, contracting and holding the leg up. The conscious focus on the working muscle increases neural drive to that muscle and improves the training stimulus beyond simply going through the physical motion. Slowly lower your foot back to the floor, taking 3 full seconds to descend. Perform 10 repetitions on the right leg, then switch immediately to the left leg without resting between sides. 10 repetitions on each leg completes 1 set. Rest 60 seconds between sets. Perform 3 complete sets. To progress this exercise over time, add light ankle weights beginning with half a kilogram and increasing by half a kilogram increments every 2 to 3 weeks as the previous weight becomes manageable. Ankle weights can be purchased inexpensively from any sports shop or online retailer, and they allow you to continue increasing the resistance and the training stimulus from a completely seated and safe position indefinitely. This exercise is also one of the most appropriate options for adults recovering from knee replacement surgery or managing chronic knee arthritis. If you have had a knee procedure, please confirm with your physician or physical therapist before beginning. But for the majority of older adults, this movement is one of the most accessible and consistently beneficial exercises in the entire senior fitness toolkit. Exercise 5, Tandem Standing. The final exercise in this program addresses something critically different from the 4 exercises that came before it. Not pure muscle strength, but neuromuscular coordination. The precise communication between your brain, your spinal cord, your inner ear, your eyes, and your muscles that determines your ability to maintain balance on a narrow, unstable, or unpredictable base. This quality is called proprioception, your body's ability to sense its own position in space and to make the rapid automatic corrections needed to stay upright when that position is challenged, and research consistently shows that proprioceptive training, targeted balance training, reduces fall risk in older adults by up to 37% independent of any gains in muscle strength. The 2 qualities are both necessary. Strength without balance control is incomplete. Balance training without strength is equally incomplete. This exercise addresses the half of the equation that pure strength training cannot reach. Stand beside a sturdy chair or counter with one hand positioned within easy reach for support if needed. You may not need to hold it, but it should be close enough to grab instantly if your balance is challenged. Place your right foot directly in front of your left foot so that the heel of your right foot is touching or nearly touching the toes of your left foot. You are now standing in a perfectly straight line with one foot directly in front of the other. This is called the tandem stance. It dramatically reduces your base of support from the normal hip width stance and immediately challenges the balance systems of your body to work significantly harder to maintain stability. Hold this position for 10 full seconds without holding the chair if possible. Fix your gaze on a single stationary point directly ahead of you at eye level throughout the hold. This fixed visual focus provides your brain with a stable external reference point that significantly improves balance performance. Allowing your eyes to wander or looking down at your feet removes this stabilizing input and makes the exercise dramatically harder than it needs to be at this stage. If 10 seconds feels achievable, progress to 20 seconds, then 30. Then try performing the hold with your eyes gently closed for 5 seconds before reopening them. Removing the visual input forces your proprioceptive and vestibular systems to work without their primary support, and represents a significant step up in difficulty that produces correspondingly greater balance adaptation. Alternate which foot is in front for each repetition. Right foot forward for your target duration, then left foot forward for the same duration. Perform 3 repetitions with each foot forward. The landmark mortality study I described at the beginning of this video used a single leg stand test as its primary measure. Tandem standing is the foundation that builds towards single leg standing ability. Master tandem standing first. Single leg standing becomes the natural next progression as your balance improves over the following weeks. Your complete 12-week progressive plan. Here is exactly how to structure these 5 exercises across your week for maximum benefit with adequate recovery built in. Frequency, 3 sessions per week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday works well for most people. The rest day between each session is not optional. Muscle adaptation and strength gains occur during the recovery period, not during the exercise itself. Training every day without rest days for older adults produces fatigue and injury rather than strength. Session structure. Begin every session with 2 to 3 minutes of gentle marching in place. Lift your knees to comfortable height and swing your arms naturally. This warm-up increases blood flow to the leg muscles and raises tissue temperature before you load them. Perform all 5 exercises in the order presented. Sit to stand first, heel raises second, side leg raises third, seated knee extensions fourth, tandem standing fifth, rest 60 seconds between each set. End every session with 2 minutes of gentle calf stretching. Stand facing a wall with your hands resting against it. Step 1 foot back and press the heel of the back foot toward the floor, keeping the back leg straight. Hold for 20 seconds. Switch legs. This maintains the flexibility and ankle mobility that the exercises require. Weeks 1 and 2. 2 sets of each exercise at the starting repetition numbers. Focus entirely on learning the correct technique for each movement. Speed is irrelevant. Technique is everything. Weeks 3 and 4, 3 sets of each exercise at the starting repetition numbers. Technique should now feel more natural. Begin paying attention to the quality of the slow lowering phases in each movement. Weeks 5 through 8, 3 sets at the starting repetitions with progressions where applicable. Begin reducing hand support during sit to stand. Begin attempting single leg heel raises. Increase tandem standing hold duration. Weeks 9 through 12, 3 sets with progressions fully implemented. Retest your baseline measures from week 1. Single leg stand attempt if tandem standing feels secure. Add ankle weights to seated knee extensions if appropriate. Retest schedule. At the beginning of week 1, record how many sit to stands you can perform without hands, how long you can hold the tandem stance, and whether you can perform a single leg stand at all and for how long. Retest exactly these measures at weeks 4, 8, and 12. The improvement in your own numbers is the most powerful motivator available and the clearest evidence that the program is working. The nutrition connection. You cannot ignore exercise alone is not sufficient to reverse sarcopenia. The biology of muscle rebuilding requires 2 inputs simultaneously: the mechanical stimulus of resistance exercise and the nutritional raw material of adequate protein. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults require significantly more dietary protein per kilogram of body weight than younger adults to achieve the same rate of muscle protein synthesis. The current recommended dietary allowance of 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day was established based on research in younger adults and is now widely considered inadequate for adults over 60 by leading researchers in muscle metabolism. Current evidence supports a target of 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day for older adults engaged in resistance training. For a 70-kilogram adult, that means approximately 84 to 112 grams of protein daily distributed across meals rather than consumed in one large serving. Practical high-quality protein sources that research shows are particularly effective for muscle protein synthesis in older adults include eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, canned fish, including salmon and tuna, chicken, legumes combined with whole grains, and whey protein if whole food sources are insufficient to meet the daily target. Vitamin D also deserves specific mention. Research has established that vitamin D deficiency, which is extremely common in adults over 60, particularly those who spend limited time outdoors, directly impairs muscle function and is independently associated with increased fall risk. Ask your physician to check your 25-hydroxyvitamin D level at your next appointment. A level below 30 nanomoles per liter warrants supplementation discussion. At 85 years old, I can tell you something from personal experience and from 6 decades of working with older adults that no study can fully capture in a data table. The moment when a person realizes their legs are no longer reliably carrying them is one of the most psychologically significant and quietly devastating moments in a human life. Because legs are not just about walking, they are about independence, about the ability to live in your own home on your own terms, about getting to the bathroom safely in the middle of the night, about walking to your car, about attending your grandchild's school play without needing someone to help you to your seat, about being the person who shows up for life rather than the person who watches from a chair. That independence does not disappear all at once. It erodes gradually and almost invisibly, one stumble at a time, one avoided staircase at a time, one decision to stay seated rather than stand at a time, one activity given up because the confidence is no longer there. And then one day the erosion crosses a threshold and everything changes in a single moment that feels sudden but has been building for years. These 5 exercises are not a fitness program in the conventional sense. They are not about looking stronger or performing better on a test. They are about protecting the physical foundation that your entire independent life is built upon. 15 to 20 minutes 3 times a week is the investment. Your independence, your confidence, and your quality of life for the next 10 to 15 years is the return on that investment. The research is unambiguous. The biology is on your side. The only question is whether you will act on what you now know. Your legs carried you to where you are today. Every step of the journey, every hill you climbed, every floor you paced waiting for news, every dance, every morning walk, every year. Give them 15 minutes, 3 times a week, and let them carry you through everything that still lies ahead. If this video gave you something genuinely useful today, please subscribe. Every single week, I bring you practical, research-based, honest health information designed specifically for adults over 60 who deserve to understand their own bodies fully and to take real control of the years that matter most. And leave a comment below right now. Which of these 5 exercises are you going to start with today? And did the sight to stand test at the beginning of this video tell you something about your legs that you needed to hear? I will be in the comments reading every single response personally. Take care of yourselves. I will see you in the next one.